Hello, YouTube. This is the Galley La Podcast, and I am Akainu Fanboy. The other guy's Geboss. Please like or dislike, subscribe, leave your comments below because, I'll just straight out say it. This is our solo leveling review for season 2. It's going to be very negative for me. I haven't heard Gboss's comprehensive thoughts, but that's just a spoiler for me. So if you want candid thoughts, there's literally almost every other commentator out there says this is like amazing and it rivals One Piece. So yeah,
right.
So I have heard people unironically say who review One Piece saying that the Ant King fight versus Jinwoo was better than every single One Piece fight ever created. So I'm just gonna keep this, So I'm just saying there's a lot of positive stuff that you can find on this, and I'm just gonna have more of a negative take, but that's just me.
Go off.
And I will try to be as analytical about it as I can, and not just pure rage.
Yeah.
Where I'm gonna use my.
Where you want to start?
I will just kind of briefly say, just with some themes in season 1, there were 3 things that really stood out to me. So remember that whole concept of the S ranks and the A ranks were kind of discussing this too, where they have to physically train and practice to make up for them being stuck in level brackets and everything like that.
Yeah, I think so. It's been a while since I've watched season 1, but yeah.
Yeah, and I empathize if you don't remember that, because they never brought that up again.
Yeah.
That concept just went away, right? Which leads to a degree, this is going to go to my underlying thesis, it takes away tension from the show when you do that, because it's like, oh, that person's stuck in that level, they can't touch the MC. So as much as they try to say, oh, well, even if you're stuck in these ranks, you can still perfect your skills and everything. But we've never seen anything through. Okay, I know maybe they could have left some stuff out of the manga, sure, but we didn't see anything in the anime that showcased oh, that character really trained to show their stuff to make up for their lower level rank or whatever, So that was thrown out too. I don't remember the guy's name, but for the record, I would love to pull the average fan and just in the West or whatever, or throughout the world, if they can write can you write a list of 5 to 7 characters' names off the top of their head, aside from Jinwoo? Can they actually name off their names?
You mean ones that actually have an effect on the plot in any meaningful way?
Or anybody, their actual name, but
yeah.
I was just thinking about the S rank, who was the brother to the C rank hunter that got killed in season 1, and then Jinwoo's dad took him out.
Yeah.
He never got brought back, and that was kind of another plot line that was thrown in the air. And they're warning Jinwoo, watch out, S ranks can take care of you. They don't listen to the rules. And then he gets off screened, and then we never hear from him again.
Yeah.
So that's another example of underdeveloped tension.
Did he show up in the last episode taking out the bugs? Was that him? I don't remember.
No, that was a
Different?
I think they're called the world rankers or whatever. It's the next tier up, basically. That's another critique I'll have later. But and then the last thing is when he fought Kang, who was that B rank, a high rank B member, where Kang basically says and that was actually one of my more favorite fights in the series, and I can explain that later. But Kang basically articulated, be careful of how you live in this game, because the darkness is going to consume you roughly. And then again, was that built upon in season 2 either? Which I thought was going to be an interesting plot point. No, it wasn't. So I'm just saying those are kind of 3 points that the author introduced to the story that were just kind of thrown off, and it just became a power smashing thing. And it takes away tension, and it takes away depth. But you can go. Those are kind of my 3 opening salvos right there from season 1.
Yeah. So, I kind of enjoyed the first half of this season, because I felt like Jinwoo was kind of on his own journey, climbing the tower, trying to cure his mom, because that was his ultimate goal.
Mm-hmm.
And him doing that, he was leveling up and everything, and that was all good. I will say, just positives, the fights are good. I mean, the average animation for the fights is good. The choreography is good. I mean, it's a lot of speed and everything, but I think people are saying, like, in terms of like choreography and stuff, it's better than One Piece. I think that's where they're coming from. But I don't agree with that. I would say even like the Gear 5 fight with Kaido like surpasses it. Even the Zoro versus King fight.
Are you talking about the Ant King fight?
No, I'm just talking about
like
talking about all the fights.
Oh yeah, all the fights. In terms of animation choreography?
Yeah, because
okay, gotcha.
Yeah, but I also agree with you, like, in terms of the fighting, after, like, he's gotten these necromancy powers, there's little tension in this. Like, I think the most we saw him struggle this whole arc was when he got to the top of the tower and was fighting the main guy up there for the final piece for the potion. But then he just like uppercuts him and then he kills him. He just had to try harder.
Yeah,
I don't know, it's just that he exponentially gets better, and it's just no way that anyone can keep up with him, and it's just it just gets boring after a while, because honestly I was more invested in the second half in the other S ranks. Like, I wanted to see how they fared, because we saw their clash in personalities because they're from all the different guilds and everything.
Yeah.
And them coming together to fight the ants and everything, they teamed up with the Japanese, who all just got wiped out, including the one who was like Ryuji. That was Ryuji Goto. That was his name. And he just got wiped out like it was nothing. And they're like, "Oh, he's so powerful. He's like above all the Korean hunters." But then he just gets wiped out like nothing.
Yeah, I have a huge rant on that point, and I want to just save for later. But you continue. I just want to like put that out there. But yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. I liked, like I said, I liked the other S-ranked hunters. I was more involved with them to see how like they were going to, because they struggled with the queen and everything. And I didn't like how the one ant just shows up and just wipes them all out like it's nothing, kills the healer.
Merum.
I was gonna say that. I was gonna say Hunters Association exterminating the ants. This is a rip off of Hunter x Hunter. I know you don't like Hunter x Hunter too much, but I really like it. And it just like, it's a poor man's Meruem. Meruem had so much more going on for him in terms of character. But like
Kang had way more going on than the Ant King. I mean, the Ant King had zero character.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's even a season 3 announced at this point, but the only thing that I'm kind of interested in at this point, I want to know what's going on with the overall, like, how he got his powers, like thing in the first episode with the god thing. I want to know more about that, but I don't know, just Jinwoo just effortlessly doing stuff, coming at the last minute, saving people. It's like there's no room for anyone else to do cool stuff, you know?
Yeah, right. Because I think so. The reason why I keep on like referencing the Kang fight, because that was like one of my favorite episodes And I think it's a great example to be like, oh, you're just comparing it to other series like One Piece that's long that gets a developed plot. It's like, no, I'm actually contrasting it with an episode that the same author wrote, not too long ago, So what that episode provided was, we're building out the plot and the emotions and the betrayal of, the other hunters that left him stranded, the D hunters, you get to see him with all of his other friends, and both the friends are kind of former foes. And then you have the great subplot of Kang, killing all these convicts, which makes you think the convicts are going to get out, and that's going to be the whole issue, right? But then he's quote unquote doing it to avenge this father who had his daughter killed, by these convicts and things like that. And but Kang turns out to be a serial killer, and then he's like killing these guys, and you're wondering Jinwoo's going to find out in time. But then you get to see Kang fight. I'm blanking on the samurai guy's name. Actually, yeah, he's like kind of the only instance where his like training really like showed out in that fight too, which was cool. So that was actually a development at that point, And then you see a pretty cool clash that was kind of even between Jinwoo and Kang, So
yeah.
So all that being said, there's like tension, plot development, world building, a twist, and everything, and none of those elements are found later on in the series with this stuff, and I think like that's just crazy because there's like a potential there, but it's like, okay, we're just gonna throw this stuff and just like show how hype he is,
I mean, it's hard to relate to a character like in the first season we saw him struggle, especially like with the Egress fight, like before he got all these necromancy powers and everything. Like I personally can't relate to person like in that the first couple episodes where they're stuck in the snow place, and he kills that one A rank hunter, turns him into iron.
Yes.
Just for his own to add to his own power. It's like, well, like, what is? I'm supposed to be rooting for this person who just wants to. I get he was an asshole, but like, I don't know. It just doesn't sit right with me. I thought. I don't want to cut you off from your thought, but I thought they were going to do
no, it's okay. Yeah.
With the with Yoonho's friend Byung-yu. The healer at the end. I was like, oh, don't tell me that he's gonna resurrect him and keep him in his thing, because that's just. But if he had done that, it would have actually provided a character, like a clash between like ideologies, like, oh, you're using my friend, like, what is this? You're keeping him in your ranks. But at least he released him. That's one thing that I can say. But
oh, well, there's another. I like how you bring up that point, because Yoonho, remember, there was a clash exactly like that. Some tension, someone would call it, as soon as they get out of the ice dungeon after he makes iron.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, where's my guy? Where is he? And then, oh no, we're just going to drop that after that little tense stare off, and we're never going to pick it up ever again.
Well, no, they brought it back in that final episode, like, oh, you grabbed my shoulder before, but this time it's out of thankfulness. It's like, fuck off with that.
well, but they never brought up iron.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's like, oh yeah, he just died. Yeah. Oh, and then also, Yoonho, like, he sees, he sees iron, like later on. And he's like, oh, well, he just didn't recognize him because he's in a shadow form. And he recognized his healer friend.
Yeah.
And also, this guy has like hypersensitivity, where he was able to tell like the aura of the queen ant from a huge distance away. So don't go. It's just like crappy story writing. That's what it is. He's like, oh, thank you for releasing him as a slave, but not iron.
Yeah.
Like, because it's like really actually dark and messed up when you do it to a human being, and not just like a monster and anything like that.
Yeah.
And
there's no like moral like quandary about it. Like, he's not like asking like, oh, is it right for me to do this? There's no struggle like, oh, he was a jerk to me, he was gonna do this, blah blah blah. It's like,
Yeah.
I killed him, I took his powers, he's gonna stay with me forever. And I thought potentially it could have been like the Shadow Crew could have rebelled and everything, but no, he just keeps using them, and it's just
it's kind of like, right. And like I said, like you said, it would be kind of interesting if they kind of build up the Kang plot line of Jinwoo turning into a monster himself. You know, I guess that's another thing they could have taken from Hunter x Hunter, like the human Jinwoo fighting and not trying to become a beast and a monster himself, right? That would have been kind of an interesting plot. But again, you just drop these plot points like I've listed previously, and you just continue on like nothing happened. You know, and you know, I thought the ice one was pretty cool and it was interesting, but like, I don't know. It's also like when you get to the next dungeon in the mining cave.
Yeah.
When, where I think it was a Chahe. You know, she was like the dancer, the best rank one, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, maybe Jinwoo can team up with her and take on this dungeon, or like he can lead this squad of B rank, you know, hunters basically.
Yeah.
And you know, we could do something different. And then, but it's like, no, you know, you just bring them, take them out. And it's like, well, it's called so lovely, so what do you expect? And it's like, okay, yeah, let's focus the entire show on someone that has like close to zero character, you know, and that's it. You know, like I said, there's so many shows that do. We've talked about it previously, that have done powerful MCs that are broken, that still have really better fights in terms of tension, but they actually have insanely well-developed side characters. So Mob Psycho and One Punch Man would be two examples of those, actually.
I mean, we've talked about Sakamoto days on this channel.
Agreed. Yep.
Like, he's made out to be like super powerful, but we don't get the sense that like everyone else is useless, you know. I think that's the thing. Like, even the final thing with the S ranks, like they couldn't do anything against the ant, the black ant. They couldn't do anything. They could have they couldn't put a dent on him. It's all up to Jinwoo.
Yeah, because so like when Iron was in that ice dungeon, he took out like a couple of those like bears, I believe, you know. And then he just gets negative, you know. And then like I was actually shocked that the S ranks actually got to kill some stuff, you know, right? But it gets it's so exhausting, because I was predicting everything to the people I was watching this with as the episode was going. Like, okay, they're just having this moment to build them up so that when they get ripped down by some foe, Jinwoo will come in. So the sole purpose of every character in the show is a hype tool. That's it. But you do have like the female characters that are just there to hype up Jinwoo as having swag, though. You know, that's
you know they love him. Yeah.
Right. And so you have multiple characters like that too in that category. They have no character. They just exist to hype them up in a different way, right? And I guess the only character moment is when he cried with his mom, and that's it. Yeah. And that was like kind of one of the few moments I really liked in season 2, you know?
Yeah. Because he
there
actually...
was no build up to it.
Well, I wouldn't say there was no build up, because his whole journey to the tower to get stronger was for that. But that was like halfway...
Character build up, I guess. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I guess. But that's like halfway through the season, he achieves his goal. And then and then the whole second half of the season is teaming up with these hunters from Japan, taking off the Jeju Island raid, and and just the whole thing with the final, like when they were sparring with the Japanese team, and again it was hyping them up like, oh, they're so much more powerful than the Korean ones, and then Jinwoo shows up and he's taking on the head of the Japanese hunters. And it's like, oh, he's so much more powerful than him even. It's like, again, like you said, it's just building up a hype. So
Yeah, like when he fought, the Japanese hunters were like, they got the Anbu Black Op treatment,
Mm-hmm.
you know, basically like they didn't get to do anything. Like they just got the purest essence of hype. There exists a hype of Jinwoo.
Yeah.
You know, that's solely what they exist. You know,
only 3 of them survived.
And I don't even know what those three's abilities were.
Yeah, well, there was the
like,
one, the one who like went berserk. When you hit him, and of course Jinwoo took him out because he was fighting. What's her name? The Hunter Cha.
Yeah.
He was fighting her, and because she has to get wet for him. Of course, he saves her, and I have this complaint even like in One Piece. Like, I don't like female characters who get so smitten with a character that their personality changes. Like, I don't like that with Boa Hancock's character in One Piece. I don't like that with Hibana in Fire Force. I don't like that with Hae-In Cha from Solo Leveling here. Like, she's like, because like her whole thing, she has super sensitive smelling. It's like, oh, yo, he smells good, and it's like,
yeah,
of course he does, because he's so special.
Yeah, it's like I mean, part of the pun, but just max stats.
Yeah.
You know, and everything. You know, and so like on the Japanese hunters though, it was like, I mean, obviously you knew they're just gonna be there for fodder and for hype tools, and wasn't his name Goto, the head Japanese hunter? Yeah. Okay, so Goto.
We didn't even get to see what he did.
He did a couple strikes with that Jinwoo, right? But okay, this part I think really set me over the edge. Was someone pointed out to me that in the manhwa, after their fight, he saw like all the followers that Jinwoo had, and he like almost like he was just like was petrified with fear after that. So, and I guess people were like complaining that, oh my gosh, they have an agenda. The animators have an agenda against Jinwoo because they didn't show that scene because they wanted to make him seem more even. It's like, oh, forbid.
Yeah.
Forbid that they make Jinwoo struggle a little bit, you know, like to make it more even, that he doesn't like neg dip everybody, you know? And like that, like I was like floored. It's like, I mean, it's kind of, I don't know what the animators think. Yeah, this is just my conjecture here. But like, I don't know if there was like some recognition where they're just like, man, like he's just like doing too much, you know, like maybe we should just take out the scene to make it more balanced, you know, because like that was just nuts. And then obviously, like I think even Jinwoo says like he's stronger than all the other S-rank hunters, but he still gets one-shotted more or less by Goto. And I was looking in the comment section for when he gets one-shotted, and I actually saw quite a few comments like people say, I like this show, but this was like a terrible scene.
Yeah.
You know, like, but also I would say to all those people, what did you expect? Like, has there been any character that has done like an above average job in the show? Like aside from Jinwoo?
Not really. So yeah, I mean, after the Korean hunters get one shot by the black ant, like at that point I was thinking back on it, because I mean they performed well against the queen ant and everything, and they fulfilled their mission and everything, but so I just have a question. So Jinwoo had shadows implanted in all their shadows, correct?
Yes.
So he could kind of sense what was going on. So why didn't he automatically transfer over there? Because I was trying to think of like a logic behind that, because it's like, it was said that the live feed, it wasn't a live feed, it was like a 10-minute delay. It's like, oh, was it delayed by 10 minutes to get there? But it's like, well, that wouldn't make sense with his powers, because he should be able to know what's going on at all times. So was he just sitting on his ass, just waiting the whole time until it's like, okay, I gotta appear for when I look maximum cool. Like,
yeah.
To save everyone. Don't worry.
Right.
I'm here.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't think there's really like an intrinsic logic to this, and it is just like crazy how effortlessly the Ant King and how forgettable of a character the Ant King is, for the record.
Yeah.
I do think there were good fights in this show,
Mm-hmm.
like the Icarus one and the Kang one, as I referenced earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think the Ant King one was a good fight, to be honest. I think they just put like a bunch of flashy animation to make up for it. I didn't really think it was that well done, to be honest. It actually bored me a little bit.
Yeah, I thought the fight with the one that was on the top of the tower with the dragon, I thought that one was good. I liked the what was the other one? I thought there were a couple more big ones, but the one with the sorcerer, I thought that was pretty good because it wasn't a typical like brawl fight. It was more magic based. I like that one, but yeah, this one was just kind of a slugfest, and then he unlocks like whatever ability he used to like mutilate the ant, the black ant, and I don't know, it's just hacks in the middle of a fight. Like, do you remember in the first season? I know he was just like developing his powers and everything, but like there was the episode where he fought the giant snake.
Yes,
and like he had to like actually fight it, and it took him effort to do it. It's just everything is like so little effort for him, it gets boring, and predictable.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. And I know like kind of another, I guess also, I mean, this is like a consequence of this. The world building is non-existent because Jinwoo is the only thing that matters at the end of the day. So none of these monsters have any form of agency or developed character.
Yeah. Well,
so
I think they're all part of whatever's going on with the god thing, which is, like I said earlier, it's the only thing that's kind of keeping me somewhat interested, because we also get like Jinwoo's father, and at the end of the last episode we get the two guys who can create the gates and come and go at will. I'm kind of interested to see what that develops into, but just have to slog through the predictability of everything.
Yeah, that's fair. I just think, yeah, it's predictable. Lack of world building. I was thinking about like kind of the government, Korean Hunters Association. Yeah, the Woo Jincho guy, he was rank 8, and Jin was like, wow, he's really strong. We never get to see him fight.
No.
And remember we're getting into this new rank that I kind of got spoiled on. I won't say it here. But like, it's just now like Woo Jincho is like, we know he's gonna be A forever. So we get to see an A rank like show his stuff, and we could have saw him show his stuff in the mining dungeon, but Jinwoo was too busy soloing the whole dungeon by himself.
Yeah,
like you could have easily done it there, but that's what I mean. It's like why should I care about any character in the show at all? Like, they're all NPCs. It's crazy to me, and it's just I mean, but like people are saying like, oh, it's cool, it's animation, cool fight, just take what it is, all that jazz. It's like, okay, but I have zero emotion attached to this, because I know how the fight's going to turn out. I know there's no stakes on the line because it's just kind of like an instance dungeon. That's it. Like, the monsters can't even hurt innocent civilians because they can only get out of there if they can't stop the dungeon. But we know if Jinwoo's involved, he's going to get rid of the dungeon.
Yeah. I think my favorite characters in this season were Yoonho and Byung-Yu, because we got to see them like it kind of recontextualizes it. Was the very first episode of the series, is the first or one of the raids on Jeju Island, and we get the context like, oh, that was their friend that died, and then Byung-yu retired because he didn't want to fight anymore, but he came back for this final raid to finally put an end to it. And I actually did feel like something for Yoonho because he saw 2 of his best friends die from this.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I actually care about that. And I thought he was going to be a lot more like negatively affected, like emotion wise from this. Like be like, once again, like fly off the handle when Jinwoo resurrected Byung-yu and everything. I and like I said, he released him, but I don't know.
But then there would be like no tension there though, because we clear the level divide is so big that it just wouldn't mean anything to us though. You know, like the Garp Akainu thing of Marineford, you feel hyped about that scene because you think they're relative level powers. Yeah. You know, this isn't the case here. You know, and also Jinwoo has never been embarrassed since like,
yeah.
Oh man, like the beginning of the series with the snake, maybe. You know, like that's it.
Yeah.
You know, like so it's impossible for the show to manifest a scene, like to write a scene like that. Like the writer just wrote himself into this position.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone's gotta suck up to Jinwoo. Say that he's the greatest.
Yeah, and I think just kind of going back to that whole tension point, like the Ant King, I never felt like. Okay, so I will give Hunter x Hunter credit here. That's how you know I'm down bad with this show. I felt tension with Meruem and the Royal Guards.
Yeah,
like a lot. You know, a feeling of helplessness. Like here, okay, so I guess the idea of tension would have been he solos all the Korean hunters, he takes out all those Japanese hunters. But then there's just kind of a part of me where like, this is just freaking laughable at this point, you know, because the Japanese hunters did nothing. The only hype they have is at their S rank.
Yeah.
Because Jinwoo already embarrassed all of them in the training session.
Yeah.
So, and then the Korean hunters, okay, you build up some tension, but like, there's also this sense of, you know, Jinwoo's going to be here immediately to save their asses probably, you know? So there's that element of there too. So, and that, I mean, that's it, right? Like, you think like I'm going to get any tension from that Ant King right there? Like at all? I don't know. It was just, bad.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, animation is good. I wish Tower of God had this level of animation.
Okay, serious question for you. Do you think if the animation budgets were switched, do you think the show would be talked about like it is?
Well, honestly, I know that you enjoy it, Demon Slayer. I think Demon Slayer is heavily carried by its animation, and I think this one is too. Yeah.
So, like, let's just say, do you think it would have as many 5-star? I guess would it have beat One Piece in 5-star ratings if it had the animation budget of Tower of God?
No.
Yeah, I agree.
No, I don't think so. But like Tower of God actually has like characters and like relationships between them and
a plot.
Yeah, I mean we're gonna get to reviewing season 2 eventually for that, but the rest of it, but yeah, it's just yeah, even though like it's getting a lot of praise, I'm surprised that right away that they haven't announced season 3 despite all this praise, because like I think after season 1, season 2 was announced immediately, so I don't know what the issue is there.
I kind of laughed really hard when I saw comments saying, oh well, you've seen nothing yet, Jinwoo's gonna have even more challenging bosses. Oh, so what, are they going to get 2 hits on him rather than 1 hit on him like the Ant King did?
Yeah.
Like, is that your definition? Like, whoa, well, you're gonna get some hardcore guys.
Well, you know, he got punched in the face, and he just did the thing where he no-selled it and just spat out blood like a badass.
Yeah.
It's like,
yep.
It's like, okay, well then nothing really matters.
Mm-mm.
Like, yeah.
I mean, and like it's predictable for people that if you have two brain cells rolled together, like to keep this show going, they will have to create a class above S class. And I think we got an indication with that one character with the two swords and the fire that took out a bunch of them, at once.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, like, yes, I will make this comparison because screw you, and I'm going to make this comparison. In One Piece, we've had the same power structure of like the admirals and the Yonko. Going back to frickin' like, man, let me think. It's gonna be like right after Skypiea, right?
Probably. I would say maybe around like the Enies lobby part. Yeah.
Yeah, Skypiea. I think like the admirals were like referenced, right? Like right after Skypiea, and then
that's when Aokiji showed up after Foxy.
Yes, and then the Yonko were revealed in like around Enies. So
afterwards, yeah.
We've had that same power structure for like a decade plus at this point, and I think I may have expressed this in our previous episodes. Jinwoo would like climb the ladder so freaking quickly, where now the author has to create a whole new class now to climb up to keep the story going. To keep the dopamine hit of hitting the next rank, like the prestige rank, if you will, to keep the player addicted, because I don't know, he just doesn't know how to pace his story properly, because like you said, he already healed his mom too.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that, like Jinwoo's kind of aimless at this point. There's no driving force to his character right now. Like in the last episode, he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna open up my own guild." It's like, okay.
Yeah, so I haven't looked into the spoilers for this, so I'm just going to take a huge prediction right here. They're going to create a new class of hunters, and they're going to introduce stronger monsters that embarrass this new class of hunters that are supposed to be very powerful, and then Jinwoo's going to come in and save the day and defeat said monsters.
Probably.
I think that's probably the easiest gamble to make in the human history right there. That's what the plot's going to look like.
Probably, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I would watch a season 3, maybe the highlights, but it's just kind of besides the flashy animation, I'm not invested in it that much. And that's the same thing like what happened with Demon Slayer. I watched the first season. I don't think I even finished the first season because I watched up to the fight that everyone was talking about, and then I just kind of dropped it. And I've seen highlights of fights since then, but I feel like that's what this is going to turn into for me. Unless we talk about it like this.
Yeah, right. I feel like we, as a channel, maybe had a need to comment on this, especially since people are making the One Piece comparison. And I think it would be disrespectful for One Piece to defend it against an allegation like that.
I mean...
You know what I mean?
Honestly, I don't take stuff like that too seriously, just because I know people have all sorts of tastes. I mean, I like movies that a lot of people would consider bad, but that doesn't make me liking them any less. But this is just it's good to articulate our points, like where we're coming from,
Like, if you like this show, continue to enjoy it, just don't.
These are the issues that we have.
Yes. Like, I mean, I enjoyed season 1 better than 2 for me personally, and I wanted the show to succeed in my eyes. Obviously, it's succeeding, it's making a lot of money. I was just talking about it in terms of quality. I wanted it to succeed, but it didn't for me. So it kind of sucks, to be honest. But but that's kind of it for me.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see if we get a season 3 announcement anytime soon, or if we're gonna have to wait like we did with Tower of God. that took a while to get going, but
Mm-hmm.
but if the animation budget downgrades like with Tower of God, ooh, it's gonna, because people I've seen comments for people saying like, yes, this is the animation quality I wanted for these fights. Like, if it drops below that, I feel like people are not going to be as hype on this show, and I think the cracks are going to show. But besides that, that's it for me.
All right. Well, please like and subscribe. Be polite if you can. If not, that's fine. You're allowed to do that, I guess. But yeah, chill. Have a good one. See ya. Peace.
See ya.